So much to talk about, and all of the chat, I'm delighted to say today, will be with former Senior Military Intelligence Officer Philip Ingram MBE, who joins us. Very good morning to you.
Good morning to you. Isn't the weather wonderful?
We've been saying this all week. Climate change. No, because we're not that show. We've been saying all week just how the difference it makes to us. Yeah. However, if we did have weather like this, we would be a happier, much happier country. But we wouldn't be British, you see. Yeah, I think moaning about the weather and genuinely being a bit morose and whinging and sarcasm, I think all of that comes from not living in a beautiful sun-soaked country. I'm sorry. I think that's quite crucial to our psyche.
I think the Brits have taken moaning about the weather to the next level, because as soon as the sun comes out,
we moan about that.
Oh, we moan about it's too hot. It's terrible.
No, it is too hot.
It's a heat wave. It's a heat wave. There'll be a hosepipe ban. It's terrible.
Yeah.
We need.
I'm amazed. Yeah. I live in Thames Water. We normally have a hosepipe ban even when there is actually flooding in the street. No hosepipe ban. It's all right. No thanks. We're good. We're still being flooded from the last storm. Yeah. Thanks very much.
No, I want to enjoy it.
It's only a matter of time. Oh no, totally going to enjoy. Absolutely going to enjoy it, but and let's enjoy the chat for today. Local elections today, Runcorn by-election today, so of course as of 7 a.m. this morning, we can't talk about any local politics or what's going on there. Don't forget, of course, Mike Graham be here with you tomorrow, Alex Phillips as well, also to talk about those election results. We've got the Runcorn by-election result in the morning, and local elections coming throughout the day. No doubt lots of talk about that, but what we can talk about today is what is going on here. Trade unions rejected, basically, green lunacy, as many would say. By the way, on many different political parties, this isn't a party political issue. The Unite Union, major backer, the biggest backer of the unions backing Labour, they have won the net zero plan is a millstone, a political millstone around the neck of Labour, and they basically, it's all about job losses, and the fears basically they're not creating new jobs. This comes after the GMB union described the energy policy as bonkers, but the Unite General Secretary Sharon Graham, we normally see her talking about bin collectors in Birmingham, but she said Unite is not against net zero. Everyone always says that. It's like Tony Blair, not against net zero, but it will not be achieved without serious investment in new jobs. Unite has warned time after time that all the rhetoric about a joined up industrial strategy and future jobs must be backed up with serious investment that actually delivers. What is Labour waiting for? The time is to act now. If they fail to do this, then Labour cannot expect workers to support their net zero plan. The General Secretary, Gary Smith of GMB, said it was absolute madness to be cutting off investment in North Sea oil and gas, one of a growing sense of betrayal. The criticisms we've had from Tony Blair in that foreword he wrote to a Tony Blair Institute, I want my own institute. It's an institute report, very, very damning about, look, it's unachievable. It's not going to work. Do you think this is the beginning of the end of net zero as a policy? I mean, even Kemi Baden of the Tories has dropped it as the 2050 target.
I think it's the beginning of a reset rather than the end. I don't think it's going to go away completely because
they're so signed up to it.
And it's signed up to on a global basis. So the talk's not going to go away, but they're rolling back on it. And whenever we get the unions we get Tony Blair turning on Ed Milliwatt. We get the unions now turning on Ed Milliwatt. I don't think Milliwatt has got much time left in government.
This is my thing, because I mean, a lot of people haven't got much time for him, but the trouble is, people always talk about this as Ed Miliband's policy. It's not. It's the Labour official party policy. It was also the Conservative Party policy, the Lib Dem policy, the Green policy. It wasn't Reform policy, but it was absolutely national policy of the Labour Party. Keir Starmer wrote the manifesto, approved the manifesto. It was his people who wrote it. He appointed Ed Miliband. If there is a policy in any government, it is the Prime Minister who allows that. But no, the idea that the Energy Secretary pushes his own policy is absolute abject nonsense in centralised government.
No, but Ed Miliband did come out and guarantee, what was it, £13.6 billion for overseas green projects within the first week or so.
Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, has to approve that.
But again, then we look at the overall policy, and yes, it was the Labour Party's policy, but Rachel Reeves's policy or drive is to try and achieve growth. Nobody with any common sense said if you follow all these green targets are you going to get growth, and therefore they were shooting themselves in the foot before they'd even started. They hadn't thought about it. That's quite simple.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, no one's thought through these policies. If you pay the slightest bit of attention, you'll know this is absolute load of nonsense. Now, it's very interesting yesterday that Number 10 refused to guarantee Ed Miliband's job. Basically, whenever, and we've had this about Rachel Reeves, and whenever a Prime Minister or their Number 10 spokesman government, for any party, is asked, will you guarantee that this person will still be in their job by X or Y? Look, they've got, the Prime Ministers can get rid of somebody at a drop of a hat. They are first among equals. They get to decide this. But there's no doubt at all that failure to give that support is a bit of a nod and a wink. I mean, Ed Miliband is on borrowed time. There's no doubt at all to me, and I've been saying this, I witted on about this yesterday as well, that none of these net zero policies, whether it's boilers and heat pumps, whether it's EV cars, whether it's some of the solar panel policies, whether it's the 2030, now it was 100%, now it's a 95% electricity to be produced from renewables. None of this stuff survives contact with reality.
Yep.
None of it's achievable. We will have blackouts. People will not put up with it. People simply will not buy cars they don't want.
Yep.
They will not have heat pumps installed into their homes because they don't work and they cost a fortune and they take up more space, and they simply don't heat your home properly. People will not do this stuff. People will vote on this stuff, and at the end of the day, this stuff doesn't happen. It's just a question of how soon people just come to the reality of this.
Well, I think people are getting the reality of it, and if we've got the unions turning around saying it, that's shocking. We've got the unions coming out with common sense.
They were seeing those G&B in particular. They were seeing those oil jobs going in Scotland very, very early on, and going, hold on a minute, these are highly paid, highly skilled workers.
But the people that seem to come to the common sense table last are the politicians who are making the decisions, and this is the trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.